Hey, sweet faces. Welcome to this week's homework where we're looking at customary length. If you did not print out our cheat sheet with all the different measurements, I highly suggest that you at least write down your own copy. It will make it significantly easier because these are hard to remember. I don't expect you to remember them, but we can use our conversion chart to help us. So when we're comparing two measurements, super important that we make them the same. It's really hard to accurately compare things when they're not the same amount. So if I want to compare feet and yards, I can either make them both feet or both yards. I'm going to multiply these by 3 because there are 3 feet in a yard, and I'm going to get 15 feet. Comparing 10 feet and 15 feet, much easier. 15 feet is greater. There are 3 feet in 1 yard, so this would be 3 feet compared to 4 feet. 4 feet would be bigger. There are 12 inches in a foot, 3 feet in a yard, so our 3 yards is definitely bigger. There are 12 inches in a foot, so this would be 24 inches. 24 inches would be greater. There are 12 inches in a foot and 72 inches. These would actually be the same because if I do 6 times 12, I also get 72. These are equivalent. And 24 inches versus 9 yards. There's 3 feet in a yard. There's 12 inches in a foot. 9 yards is going to be bigger. Any questions on this page? Please bring them with you to class. All right, Nuggets, we're doing a direct conversion. So I need to know 8 feet. How many inches is that equal to? Every foot has 12 inches. So 8 times 12 is going to give me my answer. 8 times 12 is 96. There are 96 inches and 8 feet. Sorry, kiddos. I'm starting to fight off a little cough here. 39 yards, 2 feet. There are 3 feet in a yard. So I need to divide. I'm going to turn in 3 yards to get a foot. 3 yards to get a foot. This is going to leave me with 13 feet. 100, I just gave the answer. Blank inches is equal to 4 yards. There are 3 feet in a yard and 36 inches in a yard. So we could do a double conversion or a single. So if I multiply this by 36, I get 144. If we did not know that, we could do yards, 2 feet, which would give you 12 feet. And then you can multiply that by 12 and get there as well. Either way would work. All right, now get 72 inches equals blank yards. There's 36 inches in a yard. So that would leave me 2. But again, if you weren't sure, you could do 72 divided by 12 to get feet. And then you could do feet divided by 3 to get your yards. How many yards are in 27 feet? Every 3 feet equal a yard, so we divide and get 9 yards. How many feet are 60 inches? There's 12 inches in a foot. When we divide 60 divided by 12, we get 5 feet. Any questions on these, sweet faces? Bring them with you to class. Our next page, we have tables to fill in where we have some pieces here and some pieces missing. So every foot is 12 inches. So I can multiply these by 12. 2 times 12 is 24. If I have inches and I need to turn them to feet, I have to do my opposite and divide by 12. 36 divided by 12 is 3. And then 4 times 12 is 48. So our missing numbers in this one are 12, 24, 3, and 48. Yards to feet. There are 3 feet in a yard. So up top, I'm going to divide by 3. And down the bottom, I'm going to multiply by 3. So I'm going to set up my problems. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 3 times 3 is 9. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 5 times 3 is 15. Our missing numbers are 2, 9, 4, and 15. Feet and inches. There are 12 inches in a foot. So on the bottom, I'm going to divide. And there are 12 and there are 12 inches on a foot. So on the top, I'm going to multiply. 60 divided by 12 is 5. 7 times 12, 84. 108 divided by 12 is 9. 11 times 12 is 132. Over here, we're doing inches to yards. Remember, this gets a little bit bigger. We're talking about 36. So every yard has 36 inches. So we're going to multiply on the bottom and divide on the top. Multiply and multiply. I only gave you one division because I know dividing by 36 is not the best. You could also use guess and check multiplication. Our missing numbers would be 72, 4, 216, and 288. Coming down the bottom, yards, 2 feet. There are 3 feet in a yard using that conversion. Our missing numbers are 3, 3, 6, and 9. And then our last one, yards to inches. I'm going to multiply by 36 on the top. And I'm going to divide by 36 on the bottom because there's 36 inches in a yard. Missing numbers are 36, 108, 180, and 7. Any questions on this one, kiddos? Bring them with you to class. All right, another conversion, and you'll notice from the way that these are set up is they're not always equivalent, right? We need to kind of think of them almost as remainders because we have yards and feet. Remember, when we convert, anything left over stays in its original form. So if I have feet left over, if I divide and have a remainder, they stay as feet. So there are 3 feet in a yard. When I do 10 divided by 3, I get 3 with a remainder of 1. That remainder is still a foot. Inches to feet. There are 12 inches in a foot. When I divide, I get 4, remainder of 10. Inches in a foot. Divide by 12. I get 6, remainder 11. Inches in a yard. Divide by 36. I get 3, remainder of 2. Remember with 36, if it's easier to guess and check, you can do, okay, 36 times 2, that's 12, that's 7. Keep going until you get to where you need to be. Feet to yards. There are 3 feet in a yard. This leaves me with 20 yards, remainder of 2. And last one, inches to yards. There are 36 inches in a yard. So 2 yards, remainder 14. Any questions on these? Please bring them with you to class. Final page is word problems, and some of these are really stretchy, but every day we get closer to being a 6th grader, which is crazy. So we want to start stretching ourselves more in that 6th grade direction. A raised garden bed is 24 feet by 36 feet. What are the dimensions of the raised garden bed in yards? So I need to take my 24 feet and write it in yards. I need to take my 36 feet and write it in yards. There are 3 feet in a yard. So it would be 8 and 12. I could say that this is 8 yards by 12 yards. A classroom is 25 feet long. What is the length in inches? 25 feet, 2 inches. There are 12 inches in a foot. So I'm going to multiply 25 times 12. I get 300 inches. Holly has 3 yards of fabric. How many inches does she have? 3 yards, 2 inches. I know that every yard has 36 inches. 3 times 36 is 108 inches. Crystal has a piece of wood that is 48 inches long. How many pieces will she have if she wants to cut them into foot-long sections? So 48 inches into feet. There are 12 inches in a foot. When I divide, she'll get 4 feet or 4 pieces. That would be a foot long. The area of Mariella's bedroom is 120 feet. How many yards is the area of her room? So I want to take my 120 feet squared and I want to write it as yards. So even if you couldn't remember the formula for area, we're just converting the answer. There are 3 feet in a yard. When I divide that, I get 40 yards. Last one, a football field is 100 yards long. How many feet is that? 100 yards, 2 feet. Every yard is 3 feet, which means it would be 300 feet in total. Any questions? Bring them with you to class.